Wait, I gotta do that again.
Just start over. What are we gonna do?
Hey, welcome to my kitchen. Today's crowd's gonna be a crowd of 100. We're gonna make one of our kids' favorite meals. It is chicken Alfredo with broccoli, and I use bow tie pasta because that is really easy to manage with a big crowd. We're gonna also do garlic bread and lemonade with lemons in it. So it'll be really fun. Come along with me in my kitchen. Here we go. All right, I've got a combination of chicken thighs and chicken breasts, and I've got about 10 pounds of chicken total. And the reason I like to add thighs in is because it's a juicier, more flavorful meat than a breast. But because I'm busy with my pots on the water for the pasta, I'm gonna go ahead and cook the chicken breast in my roaster oven on the countertop because I don't have the biggest kitchen. I'm not the biggest fan of handling raw meat without gloves, and I use food-safe, latex-free gloves. You can place the meat directly into the roaster oven without adding any spray oil or anything. Just place them down into the oven. And I sprinkle just a little bit of salt and pepper on the chicken, and I add just enough water to barely cover the meat. Then you turn the roaster on to 350, and it will roast or kind of steam that chicken for about an hour to an hour and a half. You just check it. All you have to do is take a fork and kind of stab that piece of meat and see if it starts to come apart. When it starts to come apart easily, that is when you know it is time to shred your chicken. Remove the chicken with some tongs and put it directly into your mixing bowl. And you're gonna do this in batches, probably about 5 to 6 pieces of meat per batch. Turn the mixer on and it gently shreds it, and it saves you so much time. I like to store the meat in 2 separate containers because when I get to the building tomorrow, I'm gonna wanna have 2 separate pots of Alfredo going at the same time. And it just helps me to evenly distribute the meat rather than having it all in one. It's just a system I've come up with, and it helps me to stay organized. Bring 2 large pots of water to boil. You're gonna add a little bit of salt to each pot. Don't forget that because it helps to flavor the pasta. In this case, we're going to be cooking bow tie pasta. So you're going to put the pasta into the hot water just below the water line. And you're gonna give it a gentle stir. And when you're working with bow tie pasta, you wanna work with it gently because you don't want to break up the shape. So you're going to give it a gently stir and set your timer for 9 minutes. Once it's done, you're going to go ahead and drain and rinse with cold water. Again, let's do this gently because you don't want to break up the shape of the bow ties. Drizzle a little olive oil over the top and gently toss to release that steam. The olive oil is a very important thing because you don't want this pasta to stick together. And each time you add another batch of pasta to your large bowl, you need to add a little bit more oil and let that steam be released. Now it's time to make our delicious Alfredo sauce. There is no pre-canned store-bought Alfredo sauce in this kitchen. I'm telling you, once you make this sauce, you will never go back. You're gonna combine the milk, flour, the garlic, and the cream cheese all together in a large pot. Now remember, I'm going to be making a double batch of this sauce. All of the measurements will be included in the description below. So in goes your milk, your cream cheese, your garlic, and your flour. And something about this sauce is that you have to continually work with it and stir. You can't leave your stove. You can see here at first the cream cheese likes to stick to everything, so you just work with it. Once it's off the spoon and kind of distributed, you take a whisk and you continue to stir. that flour that's in the milk will eventually make this sauce become a little thicker. As you can see here, as I'm testing with the spoon, it wasn't quite thick enough, so you just keep stirring it. Then you add your butter, and once the butter is completely melted, you turn the heat off and add your Parmesan cheese. You're going to just gently stir this cheese into this sauce, and I promise you, as it starts to cool a little bit, that sauce will thicken up. Here I am putting it in my containers that I can transport to the building tomorrow. This makes the most creamy, delicious, decadent Alfredo sauce. We're going to be doing 12 loaves of garlic bread. I get the bread at Walmart, and I'll show you how we cut it and how I season it. It's really easy. Okay, for the spices, I use a little bit of garlic powder. You don't need a lot. Just a little garlic is always good. And then my secret spice I was telling you about is called Salad Supreme. My mom used this when I was growing up, and it is just the best taste. And the kids always say, "What is that taste? It's so good." So I recommend putting this on your garlic bread. Once I'm at the building, we go ahead and preheat the oven to 350, and we'll cook 2 pans of bread at a time. When we take them out, we just set them on top of the stove and put towels over them to help keep them warm. And then once it's time to serve the kids, we'll rotate the bread in and out of the oven one more time. Now to reheat the pasta's been chilled in my refrigerator all night. So what we do is we take it to the building, and we go ahead and run hot water through strainers over the pasta just to take the chill off. And then we put the noodles into the roaster ovens in batches. And I'm heating some of the sauce in the microwave a little bit at a time, and just continually add and stir. You add the chicken, the broccoli, the sauce, a little bit at a time. You don't have to get it completely hot, just take the chill off, and then let the roaster oven do its job. Okay, so we've finished everything. The last little tip I'm going to give you is we cooked that chicken in that roaster oven. Don't waste the broth. It's really good chicken broth. So I'm going to show you what I do to save it. I am a canner. I also can, and there have been times where I've cooked a ton of chicken and even turkey, and I have canned the chicken broth or the turkey broth in my canner. This I'm going to use in my next week's meal. So I'm just going to save it and put it in the fridge, and it'll be ready to go. So here we go. This is how you do it. I have one of these containers, and I'm going to use a strainer, my little canning funnel, in my sink, because sometimes you spill. I'm going to drain it. Here we go. All the little bits. It's still kind of split. So all the little bits and pieces, that sediment that comes off of the chicken kind of collects. But I just kind of stir it, get as much broth out of it as you can. And it's really good broth. Okay, so I'll show you how much I got. Look how much good, rich broth. It's so good. And I will use that next week in my chicken enchiladas.
It was really good.
Isn't that good?